What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Corey's Garage, brought to you by Reese Motorsports, your home for the Franken-7 drift car project. It's been several days since our last video, so I'll try to remember where we left off. I know we were trying to start the car and ran into some issues, and I had to get online and ask some people that might know, and what we came up with, and it made a lot of sense, and I might have mentioned it in the last video, I don't remember. But basically I wasn't getting any spark because this being in between like a Gen 3 and Gen 4 motor led me to believe that this has a 58X reluctor wheel, and the ECU and harness and everything is set up to read a 24X reluctor wheel. So basically it's getting more signal than I guess it can read, and so it's just kind of defaulting to no spark situation. But we had fuel and it was turning over, and we had ignition, all that good stuff, so all our wiring is good. We're just lacking the communication between the crank position sensor and the computer, essentially. So yeah, so did a little research and found a conversion module made by Lingenfelter, and basically you hook it in line between the crank position sensor and the computer, and it's this little box that converts the 58X signal back into a 24X signal, and allows your car to start and run no problem. So if just according to everything I've researched and the people I've talked to, that makes the most sense, so that's the route we're going with. So at first when I went looking for it, I found it directly from Lingenfelter, which was $274. So I thought, oh, I'll see if anyone has one used or if there might be a cheaper option. And so I Google searched the part number and the product, and this site showed up for $94. I'm like, oh snap, I should jump on that. And then kind of as I completed the purchase and everything, I was looking back at the website, and it was a Russian website, and they sell shoes. So anyways, I bargained for that just to see, like, wow, if I could save, you know, $180 or something, that would be awesome. But turns out they don't communicate back with me, because I had a PayPal receipt that had some of their information, and so I emailed the address that was attached to the PayPal link, and they gave me a tracking number, but when I ran the tracking number, it was from a package that had already arrived like 5 days prior. And like say, I think the tracking number they gave me, they said the package arrived on 6/23, and this was 6/28 when I ordered it. So that was kind of fishy. So anyways, I emailed the people and told them this, and asked them if they could email me a appropriate receipt and the correct tracking number, and haven't heard anything back. So I went ahead and started a claim with PayPal, so hopefully I'll at least get the $94 back. But it was kind of funny, I was doing the same thing just to check and see. I found the same thing, it was like $1 more on another no-name site that was Russia, and this time they sold earrings. So anyways, buyer beware. If anyone's looking for certain parts and it pops up as a Russian consumer goods site that has nothing to do with automotive parts, just save yourself the trouble. It's obviously it's too good to be true. So anyways, I got the correct one coming from Lingenfelter, which is here in Indiana. So I think I ordered that on Friday or Saturday, and today was Monday. Now we're going into Tuesday, so I would imagine it shipped out today and should be here tomorrow or the next day. So let's hope so. Anyways, so hopefully that'll get this thing running. I went ahead and got 2 other sensors I was missing. I didn't think I was going to need, but the more people I talked to, it will run like garbage without it. So one was the MAP sensor, which stands for manifold absolute pressure. I didn't realize that these engines had a MAF sensor, mass airflow, in addition to a MAP sensor. but they run them both on these engines, at least on this one. So because I had the plug for it, but I didn't have the sensor itself, so I basically just kind of tucked the wire away. But actually, truth be told, I was thinking at first in my guesstimations, and what do you call it? Guessonomics or guess. Anyways, diagnosing. I thought, well, maybe these are the wires for that crank sensor, and so I clipped the end off and put the clip that was going into the crank sensor on these wires, and still no change. So I had to clip it all off, re-solder it back together, and reconnect it. So that's all good. But anyway, so I ordered a map sensor from our friends at Rock Auto and the pigtail to go with it, just in case. And also the air inlet temperature and the pigtail for that. I on this harness, this is a eBay copy of the BP Automotive or PSI harness. Apparently it's made by the same people. Just this one didn't come with instructions, but thankfully the LS engine's pretty self-explanatory with laying everything out and hooking everything up. So anyways, when I was first putting this harness on, I thought I had the correct stuff hooked in, and then I had this leftover wire up front, and so I went ahead and clipped it and taped it away. So I'll have to unclip it, untape it, and solder in the new pigtail when it gets here. But anyways, I have two important sensors on the way. They were pretty reasonable. Usually Rock Auto usually is. So yeah, so anyways, today's progress was once my wife got home from a birthday party, she helped me bleed the brakes. So she was my pedal pumper, so she got her leg day in. So thank you very much, dear. I appreciate the help so much. So we so we got that. Got the front brakes bled, and she was helping me bleed the clutch. There's still a little air in there, so I got to keep rolling, and I may or may not have to adjust the pedal somewhat. I didn't touch it before when I swapped out the master cylinder, but I might adjust it out just a little bit, and just keep on pumping. But it's a brand new master, brand new line, brand new hard line, and brand new slave, so I guess there's a lot of air to work out of it, but it is working. It's just still feels there's a little too much free play in the pedal that it doesn't exactly feel right. But I haven't driven a 300ZX or an FC in a long time, but I remember an FC usually has a very easy, breezy, sleazy pedal, and this one, it's a little firmer, which is fine, but there's just a little bit too much free play for my liking, so I'm gonna try to continue bleeding that. But anyway, so I cleaned up some wiring under the hood. I got our little under hood main fuse block kind of mounted and cleaned up, taped up a little bit, all the extra wires. And then inside, the wires going to the battery box for my ignition and starter and all that stuff. I got those loomed up and cleaned up, and got some P-clips and mounted it to the floorboard, which I'll show you if you can see it. Let me unplug the phone because it's charging as we're recording. I don't know if you can see this too well down here. Where's the hump? This is okay. Yeah, so you can kind of see going back here to the battery box. Got a nice loom and some P-clips holding everything in all nice and fancy like. Trying to make it look less like a 16-year-old build it and more like a 33-year-old man build it. I went ahead and put the strip in the battery box, mounted that, but still seems like there's a little too much movement, but it's not going to fly out, so I guess that's the point of a Napa battery box. Also, I was this will probably be a new one for you guys. So I was getting ready to run the brake line for the clutch pedal. I'm sorry, for the hydraulic handbrake, and my good old trusty, rusty, not really that rusty, but anyways, my old Matco flaring tool, for whatever reason, this top adjusting bolt, it likes to spin in this little hole. So I got all crazy and decided to weld it and which I'm sure voids the warranty. But I've had this since 2013, and I don't work in a shop that Matco even comes to anymore, so it's pretty much just been sitting around, and I haven't used it probably since 2014 because living in the South, brake lines don't rust. Up here, they do though. So, anyways, and look at that beautiful flare too. Such a waste. That was a nice little flare. So anyways, I had to cut that off just to get this tool out of the car, and ended up trying to weld up the bottom side, pardon my bubblegum welds, but that's your flux core from Harbor Freight, and an inexperienced welder. But a lot of the welds on this car look 100 times better than this, so don't judge my welding just on this. This was just to hopefully hold it in place so I could loosen this freaking stupid bolt and get my brake lines and stuff back in order, or my clutch line in this case. No, this is a brake line actually. Never mind. So got that done. Trying to think what else we did. Yeah, so when that map sensor comes in, because this intake manifold and engine is so close to the firewall, which is what I wanted, I will probably have to take the intake manifold off again, which sucks, but really it's just disconnecting that fuel line, which I got the quicker, just screw off AN style fuel lines for that. So I should just be able to unhook that, unplug the injectors, and unbolt the intake manifold, and just kind of move it up enough out of the way to put that new map sensor on. So I think with that, with the AIT sensor wired incorrectly, and the conversion module for the crank position sensor, this thing should be running this coming weekend if everything shows up. So we'll see. I've put it off for far too long. My father-in-law, bless his heart, we bought a bunch of parts for his daily driver, gosh, probably back in December or January. So it's been sitting in his garage, and kind of the plan was, once we move into our house and we get settled and get our garage and stuff set up, I was going to put this work on his car as saying thanks for letting us live at your house for so long. And yeah, and then some stuff happened, and we ended up working on this car, and he kept saying, oh, just finish your car first, take care of that, no big deal. Well, thankfully this car is almost done, but this next coming weekend I told him, I'll have 3 days off, so if you want to drop your car off on Friday or Saturday, I'll get to it. And I think we just have to do quick struts on the front, I think an idler pulley, a belt, rear springs and shocks, or maybe just rear shocks, and intermediate shaft for the steering. So hopefully all goes well. It's an '08 Chevy Equinox. I think he's got like 180,000 miles on it. That's why I told him to go ahead and get the assembled quick struts. I know Scotty Kilmer doesn't like them, but from a mechanic standpoint, and this being a home garage, yes, I do have spring compressors, but those are still pretty dangerous. And this is just his daily driver, so literally everything came from Rock Auto. So yeah, so we're just kind of keeping it rolling for him. They have a newer Jeep, so they don't take his car on long road trips anymore, so it's just kind of his putts around town car. So anyways, yeah, I think that's all we got for tonight. So go back to work tomorrow. I just had my regular Monday off today, and so didn't get started working on the car until 9 o'clock, 9:30, and it's coming up on 3:30 now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the sack, but got some good stuff done. I wanted to clean up that wiring before I put the passenger seat in, and I still have to mount the ECU, but I want to get it running before I really try to make stuff look nice in there. I found a couple of big clips underneath the dash that I think is for the backlighting of the gauges, which is good because that was not working the other day. So I'm trying to get this light out of my face and out of the camera. So I plugged those in, so I might test those out before I go to bed real quick. But let's see. I think that's all we got. So you guys take care. It'll be a few days for another upload. I got a couple of pictures of the progress tonight, so I'll get those loaded up on my Facebook page, and appreciate you guys participation and encouragement. And to all 25 of my subscribers, I appreciate you very much. And I look forward to talking to you this weekend. We'll see you soon. Thanks.